question today is this. Is the migration to the cities by Africans a natural phenomenon, or is it being choreographed? Is it being cultivated? Is it being forced? Is there a strategy to kill farming in Africa so that people can move to the cities to fulfill the prediction that a quarter of the world population is going to be living in Africa and 75% of them are going to be living in cities? Is that a prediction that is going to happen naturally, or is this something that is being choreographed to fulfill a certain economic agenda? And is killing farming part of that strategy? And you say killing farming, how is that going to happen? It's already happening, my friend. When you have, it is very easy to kill farming. If you concentrate the gathering of all vegetables in a country and you have that being distributed to customer by one monopoly, that is a strategy that is going to kill farming in those villages, in those places where the production is taking place by smallholders, because they will come and probably they came to you under the guise of, we are removing the middleman, the broker, so that we can send you more money. But over time, their goal is to import that very same tomato or onion or cabbage by making sure that the production that you are taking to them, they will one day just basically tell you, we are sorry, we are not taking products, in a very strategic way. And now they will do it at a time where you do not even know the brokers and the middlemen that you used to call for your vegetables. And before you know, you will have full production, like it has happened in Ghana for tomatoes. Place that used to produce tomatoes in Ghana and now has to import tomatoes from Italy, produced by the mafia. And that tomato comes in paste form, and they're already training you to do that, to cook with crushed tomato that is in paste form. It is not value addition. It is basically bringing you a tomato that is imported. And the strategy is to first kill the farming here. Again, by having a monopoly that collects all your vegetables and distributes it, to kill the middleman, but the goal is to kill the farming. And even when they will have their own production here in mega farms, at the end of the day, money will have moved from small production and small holders to one big producing company that in itself, a financing company, a fintech, and at the same time, a tool to kill farming in this country by either importing, which is goal number one because it's cheaper to produce things abroad, and secondly, by producing those things that were being produced by many people in their own large farms. That's how you move people in the cities. That's how you move. That's how you kill farming. And the goal is not just killing farming for the sake of killing farming. It is basically move these people who are doing those economic activities and their kids into cities and concentrate them in Jingapore buildings, so that these people who are importing things, this food stuff, have ready markets that are easy to reach because they are concentrated in Jingapore buildings. Yeah, you heard that right, Jingapore. Because Singapore itself want to make sure that 30% of their food, in their economic development, they realized they made a blunder. They concentrated on buildings and they abandoned farming. And right now they have a strategy that is called 30 by 30, that by 2030 they will produce 30% of their own food instead of importing, because that's a national security issue. But here we just want to do things when we are thinking that it's development, but is actually deathment. Yeah, I've never even used that word. Yeah, deathment, killing farming, so that we can concentrate people who are actively engaged in economic activities And now they have nothing because their farming has been killed. And the only thing they're going to do is move into the cities. And then we're going to replace their farms with trees. Carbon credits. Have you heard? That's a strategy to kill farming. So we can concentrate Africans in cities. So we can be able to sell, not we, because I'm not there, they can be able to sell to this ready market that is very close to the shop. And so we have to concentrate them in economic slums. Yeah, economic slums. Concrete slums. Concentration centers. So that importation is going to make sense. And it doesn't have to, it's not big money. There are a lot of business studies that are being done out there on how to sell to Africans. It is small sachets that cost 15 shillings. If you think of soap that sells for 15 shillings, that one sachet that you sell for, you used to buy, to wash clothes, one load of clothes. That is 15 shillings. But if 10 million people buy that, that's 150 million shillings. If 40 million people buy, that's 650 million shillings in a single weekend. How about how many weekends do we have in a year? Multiply that 650 million times 52. And you will see the amount of wealth that is going to be made from economic slums, from Jingapore. As we abandon our lands to plant trees so we can look like Jingapore. And Singapore itself is going back to farming. But we're killing farming so we can go to, not Singapore, but we can go to Jingapore. We have to wake up. We have to Pingapore. Because we're not going to, we do not need to go to Jingapore. Because we will never get to Singapore with that strategy. We will end up in Jingapore. I'm going to stop it. We cannot kill our farming with the idea that we're going to Jingapore. That is not wise. It is Jingapore. And for us to be able to develop in a holistic way that considers health, that considers well-being, that considers other things, it is not just concretometer. Concretometer. Concretometer is not development. I've written a whole entire book called Dollar Altar that says development in Africa should not mirror what we see elsewhere. It is not erection of steel, glass, and concrete structure. That's not development. It ought to look at health. It looked, social well-being of people, not just the environment itself, not simply just rising up like the Tower of Babel, just so that we can be in high rises. That's not development. I grew up in a village, and as people in the village, sometimes we have fascination with tall buildings, and we think tall buildings is development. Nyumba ya ghorofa. That's not development. We need to outgrow some of our perspectives and really truly understand what it really means to be developed. And to be developed is not copying and pasting others, because we will not end up with Singapore. Because our strategy is not right, our thinking is not right, we will end up with Jingapore. For more information about the things I'm talking about, you can buy the 4 books I've written called 5 Fingers, Dollar Altar, President Advisor, and Money Circles. They're available at Nuria, and if you're here in Kenya and in Africa, you can get them in Nuria. Everywhere else, available at Amazon. Again, if you'd like to support the work we're doing, I'm going to put my number here just in case you want to, send some coffee or get in touch with me for talk shows or for, engagement. Thank you so much for this opportunity to bring you Singapore versus Jingapore. Have a good day. Robert, Responsible. Africans being responsible.